So now we're going to jump into the humanistic theorist. And so when we're looking at Maslow and Rogers, Maslow is the one on the left and Rogers is the one on the right. These theorists believed in the humanistic approach. In other words, that we're all just trying to do the best we can to become the best that we can. So it was a very warm, fuzzy, feel-good kind of perspective. And you'll see how they conduct this in just a second. And so when we're looking at, no, we don't want to do that. All right, so when we're looking at Carl Rogers and Maslow, that they're basically saying that people are born good. You know, they're born good. And so what we do is in our thoughts and our behavior is we try to actually become the best us. So explaining our personality is saying they're striving to become the best them they can be. And that's known as actualization. So it is what motivates me. Abraham Maslow also came up with the idea that, you know what, basic needs, having them met is what motivates us. So we're going to look more at Maslow in a minute. So these two terms, self-actualization and actualizing tendency, self-actualization means that you have met all of the needs, all of those basic needs, and now you have become the best you can be. You've reached your highest potential. Okay, so that's the actual place that you're at. Actualizing tendency is going to be that natural desire to be the best me that I can be. It is that motivation, that natural drive to reach my fullest potential. All right, so looking at Maslow, and I think we talked about this in the first chapter, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So these are going to be those basic needs that have to be met, such as physiological needs. So we do need food, water, shelter, clothing, those personal artifacts in order to be able to become the best me I can be. He says the next level is going to be my sense of safety, that, you know, nobody's going to come in and rob me. Nobody's going to harm me. That basic need that everything is going to be okay is the safety needs being met. The third thing that has to happen is we have to have a sense that we belong, that we are in a loving relationship with somebody. Now, this can be a mate. It can be a family member. It can be a friend, but it's that sense that they're not going to leave me, that I am there. I can count on them. And then lastly, your sense of worth, your self-esteem has to be present. So Maslow's saying that once you get all of these things consistently done and you're feeling good about this, you become the best you can be. Now, we're constantly striving for more, but you have the basis of self-actualization right there. All right, so we're going to look at some other terms that Rogers and Maslow brought into our life. And as a therapist, we are supposed to have unconditional positive regard for our clients. In other words, we can't be judgmental about them. That when they walk into my office, I have to treat them with respect, and I have to view them in a positive light. Now, it doesn't mean that you view their actions as good, but that you look at them as a human worthy of your time, your attention, and your acceptance. Okay, so there's no strings attached. You don't have to behave in a certain way to be accepted by me. Conditional positive regard, we probably see this more often. And this is where I give you that positive regard. I think about you as a worthwhile person as long as you do this. And there's a list of things, as long as you behave this way and act this way and do these things. That's conditional positive regard. So there are strings attached. And we probably have experienced this with friends, with significant others, maybe even family members, that they only really accept you if you behave the way that they deem appropriate. All right, there's three other concepts that are a Rogers and Maslow work here. There's this thing called the real self, and that's your perception of what you really do have as far as characteristics, okay? So to say that I am smart, it's reality, it's true, that I am happy, that I am, whatever. So you have a true perspective of a list of your actual characteristics. But you know, life would be boring if we stayed right there. And so what we do is we develop the ideal self. And so this is the self in the future, what we're trying to become. You guys are students. So I'm thinking part of your ideal self is going to be graduates. You're going to hold a degree or a certificate. And so that would be your ideal, one of the viewpoints of your ideal self. And so, of course, motivation to become the best possible us that we can be would say we will eventually get there. We're going to become that which we want. But then there's also the feared self. And so often when we're raised in some serious circumstances that are not healthy, maybe in drug or alcohol abuse, physical, sexual abuse, extreme poverty, things like that, that we have in the back of our mind, you know, oh my God, I can become all these things, but I can't become that. And so sometimes we're actually guided by being afraid to become that person. And so that would be the feared self. All right, so that wraps it up for Rogers and Maslow and the humanistic perspective.